The church's hidden secret that could shake faith of millions. Imagine that there is a document so dangerous that its mere revelation could shake the foundations of the faith of millions of people. A secret kept for centuries, carefully hidden by the church. But today, it could be on the verge of coming to light. What if I told you that this discovery is not just a conspiracy theory, but that there is evidence something big has been intentionally silenced? It all started decades ago, in a remote cave in the Middle East. A group of archaeologists, following clues from ancient writings, stumbled upon what seemed to be a series of sealed scrolls, hidden among the rubble of a lost ancient civilization. At first glance, these texts seemed similar to other ancient manuscripts, but there was something strange about them. When the experts began to decipher the inscriptions, they realized they were facing something completely different from anything that had been discovered before. They were fragments of writings that spoke of a forbidden message, a narrative that directly challenged the official history of Christianity. But the most unsettling part wasn't what they found. It was what happened afterward. One of the lead researchers, an expert in ancient languages, disappeared without a trace shortly after accessing the documents. His team, bewildered, tried to contact him, but in vain. All of his belongings, notes, and electronic records were mysteriously deleted. It was as if he had never existed. But what was even more terrifying was yet to be discovered. Other researchers who had worked on the same excavation began to receive anonymous threats. Deleted emails, unanswered calls, and veiled warnings made them fear for their safety. Some abandoned the investigation entirely, others tried to bring the documents to the public eye. But strangely, all attempts to publish the information were blocked. Then, the big question arises. What did those documents contain? Why has the church gone to such lengths to keep them hidden? Some claim that these texts revealed an alternative version of the story of Jesus, a story that contradicts many of the dogmas established by the church over the centuries. Others believe that the documents contain prophecies that were intentionally removed from the Bible because they revealed events that are yet to happen. And there are those who claim that within these manuscripts is the true message of Jesus, one that would dismantle the structure of religious power as we know it today. If this is true, then the inevitable question arises. Who is afraid of this truth coming to light? The answer could change history forever. A dangerous secret document potentially challenging the foundations of Christianity is discovered in a cave, leading to mysterious disappearances and threats against researchers attempting to reveal its contents. To understand the magnitude of this mystery, we must go back in time. Year 325 AD. In the city of Nicaea, Emperor Constantine summoned a group of the most influential religious leaders of the time. This event, which would later be known as the Council of Nicaea, was not merely a theological meeting. It was a total reorganization of Christianity, where it was decided which gospels would be accepted as sacred and which would be condemned to oblivion. But what many do not know is that this council did not only establish the foundations of the Christian faith, it also silenced certain uncomfortable truths. At that time, dozens of gospels and writings about the life and teachings of Jesus were circulating. However, some of these texts contradicted the official version that the church wanted to establish. They spoke of a different Jesus, a message that put the power in the hands of the people rather than the ecclesiastical institution. The result was drastic. Hundreds of documents were destroyed, persecuted, and prohibited. What remained was a carefully selected version of Christianity, one that favored the control and hierarchical structure of the emerging church. But here arises the mystery. Did all of those texts really disappear? Some historians believe that not all were destroyed, but that certain writings were hidden in remote monasteries, secret crypts, and even in the Vatican's most protected archives. But there is something even more unsettling. The documents recently discovered in a cave in the Middle East appear to be directly connected to those forbidden texts. And if that's true, we could be on the verge of one of the greatest revelations in the history of Christianity. Imagine for a moment that these writings contain information that could completely change what we know about Jesus and his mission. Imagine there are passages that explain aspects of his life that were never revealed, or that disprove the teachings that the church has transmitted for centuries. If this were true, it could be the greatest religious cover-up in history. But before we get to the most shocking part of the story, I want to know your opinion. Do you believe that the church has truly hidden key information for centuries? Leave me your comment and tell me what you think. Now, let's return to the mystery. Investigations into the documents began to advance in complete secrecy. Only a small group of experts had access to the texts, and the security measures around the discovery were extreme. But the more they investigated, the more dangerous the situation became. The first researchers to study the writings began to notice something unsettling. The content did not match the official version of Christianity that the church had promoted for centuries. These were not just simple historical records, but something much more impactful: texts that contained teachings of Jesus that were never included in the Bible. One of the historians working on the investigation, convinced that this information needed to be made public, leaked part of the content to a journalist from a prestigious international media outlet. But before the story could be published, something inexplicable happened. The journalist's office was raided in the dead of night. His files, computers, and notes were seized without any official order. There were no explanations, no responsible parties. The next day, the journalist received an anonymous warning. If you value your safety, forget about this story. But what was most terrifying was what was managed to be rescued from his notes before the raid. Among the leaked fragments, a teaching attributed to Jesus was found that never appeared in the official Gospels. A message so powerful and revolutionary that, if known, could completely change the structure of the church as we know it. A message that questioned the need for a religious institution to reach the truth and salvation. The texts suggested that the relationship with the divine did not depend on any ecclesiastical authority, rituals, or intermediaries. That the true path to transcendence was individual, and that each person had the power to find the truth for themselves. But that wasn't all. Other passages spoke of a secret that Jesus shared only with his closest followers. A teaching that was intentionally suppressed and replaced with dogmas designed to establish a power hierarchy. If this is true, then the inevitable question is, has the church manipulated the true teaching of Jesus to maintain its power? And if these documents were to come to light completely, how would it change the history of Christianity? The truth they don't want you to know. The information about these manuscripts remains completely shrouded in secrecy. No one knows exactly how many exist, where they are, or who has access to them. But what is certain is that the efforts to conceal them have been extraordinary. From the moment these documents were discovered, a blanket of silence was imposed. The first leaks mysteriously disappeared. The researchers involved were removed from the project without explanation, and any attempt to make the information public was blocked. Why so much secrecy? Why would a simple archaeological find cause such concern in certain circles of power? Some experts argue that these texts are hidden in the Vatican's secret archives, alongside other documents that have never seen the light of day. Writings that could completely change what we know about the history of Christianity, the figure of Jesus, and the true purpose of his message. But there are even more disturbing theories. It is believed that certain power groups within the church have taken extreme measures to eliminate any evidence that could compromise the official version of history. This would not be the first time. Throughout the centuries, texts considered heretical were destroyed, religious movements were persecuted, and knowledge that did not fit with the doctrine was erased from historical records. But the most terrifying thing is this: every time someone has tried to reveal this information, they have been silenced. Journalists have seen their investigations censored. Historians have been discredited. Key witnesses have disappeared without a trace. And now the inevitable question arises: are we about to discover the truth? Or will this secret remain buried forever, protected by those who don't want the world to know? If this has left you with more questions than answers, you are not alone. There are many more hidden truths waiting to be revealed. Subscribe now and watch this video that reveals another shocking secret that the church doesn't want you to discover.